Brew, are you worried about Tatum's performance?
You seem worried.
I know.
I just can't.
I picked Dallas. I'm not worried.
He's like, it's surreal being here. Buddy, you've been to 5. What are we doing? You played 109 playoff games. You're Jayson Tatum, one of the top 5 players in the league.
Wow.
It's surreal if I was all of a sudden playing, like it's some like Mike movie where all of a sudden like I'm in the final. Like, man, this is surreal. Now if you're Jayson Tatum, you went to Duke, you're a first-team All-NBA. It's not surreal, dude. You're supposed to be there.
I don't think it's unique for a player to feel nervous. I bet Luka was nervous. I bet Kyrie was
He sure
nervous.
didn't look like it.
But I don't really like him saying it. Because all players, boxers tell you they're nervous before every fight. You got the
He acted like he was breaking news. Like, I was nervous, believe it or not. Like, we know.
I'm wondering, was that to cover for his poor first quarter, which was the word? He had the 3 turnovers. Was he trying to cover for that? I don't know. But he's got to be better. There's no doubt about that. Nick, if they going to win this, this is unique for a guy that's their best player or been that way. They're looking more like Detroit 04.
That's exactly what I was
Where
thinking.
it's like, Chauncey Billups, and Chauncey Billups was a blue chip high school and college guy, was the 3rd pick in the draft, if I'm not mistaken.
Wilds
Rasheed was, I think, the fourth pick in the draft.
Yeah.
So they had, these are highly touted guys. But Rip Hamilton and Ben Watt's like, maybe that's what this Boston team is. And maybe Tatum, while possibly their best player, it's more of just a team rather than one guy kind of leading a group of other really good players.
Oh, now you buy that.
Here's what I will.
I said it was a marketing issue for the Celtics. No one knows how to. They're not a superstar-led team.
Right.
They're more like the Pistons.
But let me say this, though, about Tatum, and this is a positive. I will give him credit. We are judging him by his field goal percentage, which has been low, and his points. Total, he had 35. He had, 16 last night. Credit him that he is not like letting his shot determine how he plays. He still had the game high 11 rebounds. He's averaged 10 rebounds for the playoffs. He's had double-figure rebounds in 7 of their last 8 games.
But the turnovers is bad.
The turnovers is bad, but I'm just saying, overall, defensively he was good. Rebound the ball, he was good.
Those two.
And now that's what you want from a role player. He's not a role player, so I get it. But a lot of stars, Kyrie did nothing. His shot wasn't falling, so he did nothing.
That's true.
So I'm just saying, I will give him credit in that he's like, man, okay, the shot's not falling. I'm still going to do this and that.
So I know people are not going to believe me when I say this. I like Jayson Tatum.
I
believe that. I think everybody likes
I don't believe it.
Okay, but here's the thing. Every time he does an interview, the thing he talked about going to class with his mom, he had a really nice moment with Jabari Smith Jr. the other day. Even this press conference, I'm like, man, that's a likable guy, even if you're saying you shouldn't do it. And he's obviously excellent. You know what I mean? The entire pushback, and I think maybe now, and this is where you frustrate me so much, all week I was being yelled at because I said, yeah, even if the Celtics win the title, I would be shocked if I come away from it saying Jayson Tatum leveled up into that, like one of the either the best player or one of the 3 or 4 best players. He is who he is, who is a guy who is an excellent player, clearly one of the 10 best in the league. On the nights his 3-pointer is falling, he can explode we've seen him score 50 in a game 7.
In big games.
Right. We saw him score 46 in facing elimination when he hit, I think, 7 threes and 5 threes in those games. So we know what the upside is. I think there are some nitpick flaws in his game, which is he doesn't draw as many fouls as a guy his size and strength should as far as getting to the line. Last year was the only year of his career he's been really significantly above average and getting to the free throw line. I do think he falls in love with contested shots a little too often. Even last night, the reason he got to 16 instead of sitting on 10 was a couple really tough threes. You know what I mean? Like hand in his face stuff. He just is who he is. And if the Celtics, this is where maybe you now are okay with this statement. Even if the Celtics win the championship, it's not really going to change how I feel about Jayson Tatum, which is he's one of the 10 best players in the league who on any given night can go toe-to-toe with the best player in the league, but is not night to night as reliable as the three guys who are in the best player in the league conversation.
But he stops himself. That's my issue. It's not like a guy, I can't think of a guy right now, who's on the cusp of superstardom, but it's like, well, someone gave him a problem
Anthony
that he couldn't
Edwards?
solve. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. But it feels like Tatum puts a restrictor on himself, where his shot wasn't horrible last night. Early in the game, everybody had a shot. I'm watching Tatum doesn't have a shot yet. Tatum started turning the ball over. He just started to play passively jogging. I'm like, he doesn't look right. Like, he feels nervous again.
Don't you think that some of that is the mental part of the game, which is that's why he just needs hurdle to get over. Right, but I don't know that he's putting a governor on himself. I think I don't see, and again, people, this might be unfair. It's just from me watching basketball, I don't see just killer from Jayson Tatum. I see it more from Jaylen Brown, but Jaylen Brown isn't as gifted and as talented as Tatum. Like, it's just what I see.
We've talked about this. I've mentioned two guys a few times who have #1 games in talent, but not really that mentality. Anthony Davis and Karl Anthony Towns. And he's actually probably right in between those guys, maybe, as far as the best players, certainly better than Towns. But there might be three guys who have the #1 ability, but he seems like almost too nice of a guy.
I understand their games aren't that similar. He just reminds me so much of Drexler. Where it's like, you don't want to, it's crazy to spend time being like, here's what's wrong with Clyde Drexler. It's like he's for a half decade or longer, one of the 10 best players in the league. The best player on a team that consistently competes and makes finals. But if he is your best guy, you're probably going to run up in the finals against a better team or against a team with a better guy. Yeah. And that's what I'm with Drexler. Now, this Celtics team might win the title.
Yep.
But that it's going to be one of those weird spots where, like you said with the 04 Pistons, nobody left that and like, God dog it. I guess Chauncey's got to be in the best player alive conversation. It was like, man, that is an unbelievable team. Everyone knows their roles. Everyone does their job.
But you will be able to say he can be the best player on the championship team.
Correct. Okay. Fired Darvin Ham now more than a month ago.
Thank you.
The reporting yesterday was they are preparing to make an offer. They are now going to meet with him. If this was your clear-cut #1 target that you really believed you can get, what's been going on? You want to make sure you don't overlook James Borrego? You want to let JJ get 2 more pods out so you can really see what he's got to offer? Right now, if I were going to bet, Brew, I would bet this ends with Dan Hurley getting a big additional raise from UConn and J.J. Redick being the head coach of the Lakers. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Hurley would be a great hire. I would be thrilled about it if I were a Laker fan. That's not what I think is going to happen.
Well, I told you that's the theory that some guys in the league have that I talked to. But Dan Hurley should go, when he meets with the Lakers today, or if he already has, he should ask for Monty Williams makes $13 million a year. He's the 4th highest paid coach in the league. You got Spoelstra at 15, Popovich 16, Steve Kerr at $17.5 million. He should ask for either 14 or 15 million a year.
Six for 90?
For several years.
6 years,
like
90
for 90?
Where you are making enough money and you have enough years where you got security. And now you can coach the team the way you want to. Now, UConn will not match that. UConn probably, he's at a little over 5 now, probably go to 10, and that would make him the highest paid. I think Bill Self makes 9, something like that. So I think the Lakers got to blow him away with an offer. And if they do that, maybe he'll take. But he's got to have the security where, like, look, I'm not at LeBron's whim, or if he gets tired of me, I can get fired.
Era. That's a real post-LeBron era.
So we'll see.
That's good.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.